The FBI just made an arrest in the Pentagon leak case. 21-year-old Air National Guardsman Jack Tahara was arrested in Dighton, Massachusetts. Here's Brigadier General Pat Ryder earlier.
We do have stringent guidelines in place for safeguarding classified and sensitive information. This was a deliberate criminal act, a violation of those guidelines.
The leak of classified documents in part disclosed information on the inner workings of the war in Ukraine, as well as exposing South Korea's potential involvement in the war, the alleged role of intelligence services in recent protests in Israel, and that's just to name a few of the elements in the leak. My next guest, retired Air Force Special Operations Commander and national security expert, Glenn Ignacio. Glenn, good to have you. Thanks for being here. So you were personally impacted by this leak. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, your reaction to the new information from Brigadier General Pat Ryder and the arrest of a 21-year-old Air National Guardsman.
Yeah, I mean, the idea it's an Air National Guardsman really doesn't matter. It's almost like the same as active duty. There's really no difference. And this is with the 102nd Wing, which is an intelligence wing with the Air National Guard, Massachusetts Air National Guard. So he had the ability to access a tremendous amount of information, as that wing focuses on a lot of our surveillance platforms like the U-2 and so forth, and then analyzes it and disseminates it across the Air Force. So the idea that that they had access to it is one thing, but it's interesting about how there was a varied amount of activity from not only Ukraine, but also other things happening in Korea. So usually it's just specified in certain compartments. So I'm not sure exactly how he or she would have the ability to see across a large spectrum like I just said.
Well, Biden said that he was not concerned about the leaked information. Are you?
I would always be concerned about the leak. Anything that has to deal with these type of war plans, estimates, or other intelligence is usually at a top secret SCI level. That means sensitive compartmented information. That means that certain people are only specifically able to get that information. So if I had a top secret SCI and another person does, we don't get to see everything. So it's really sensitive. And the idea that this is disseminated in the public forum without being declassified always has an impact. So to say it's not important when you're affecting allies is absolutely spin.
So are you more concerned about the content or that it happened?
Both. I mean, the idea that the content is of extremely sensitive nature, where we talk about the estimates that were going on in Ukraine and Russia, and then the intelligence about Korea and other launches, that's critical because it did offend some of our allies. Knowing that they're being spied upon or so forth is definitely going to impact things on a global stage. So there's definitely that needs to be taken care of. The other thing is that it happened is really of great concern, because inside any of these classified areas, for example, when I was in service, we cannot take a recording device in. We can't take our cell phones or any electronic device whatsoever into classified areas. So one is, how did this get out? Two, how were pictures taken of this? Is there somebody else involved or not? And purely, this seemed to be an ego type of centric thing where he was trying to prove an issue online. So it's around the nature of how it happened and what information that really is of concern. So both sides.
So how does this make the U.S. look? How's this damaging to the United States?
Well, it makes us look like we have a lot of housekeeping to do. I mean, it's definitely a thing that we're not doing very well. We've had significant leaks in the past with Private Manning. We had even significant with our systems being leaked with Snowden. And, you saw Manning's sentence was commuted by President Obama. It's like, what is the impact when somebody actually does something wrong? And so when you see this, it's really of concern about what information that is getting out there that we don't know about. And so our allies on a united front, when we're trying to help different countries around the world, when they feel that they don't have a friend, that's a tough thing to recover from.
Okay, now let's get to how you were personally impacted by this leak.
Well, this leak specifically ties into like Ukraine. When I was in Ukraine last year, it was definitely one of those things of understanding what the Ukrainian forces are doing and what the Russian forces are doing. So any type of information that's released usually ties to operations where personnel are, and that includes both military personnel, humanitarian aid, and others. So any of us that are assisting in any way, shape, or form, it doesn't matter if it's people or if it's the military, get compromised in something like this. The intelligence that these individuals see are extremely detailed and specific, and they impact people on the ground all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we know the 21-year-old Air National Guardsman was arrested in connection to this leak, so this story has a lot more to come. We'll keep you updated. Glenn Ignacio, thanks for your time today. Appreciate it.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.